Now, before I get back to the Final Destination decodes, I wanted to briefly talk about some strange situations revolving around Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 3, as 2 of its episodes were moved from their original air dates due to what happened at Columbine. The Columbine Massacre, of course, being on 4/20, 1999. And while I've mentioned this several times in many different videos when talking about the 4/20 date, this is the first time I'm actually showing it. Of course, one of the culprits, or so-called culprits, who knows what really happened, Dylan Klebold, was born on 9/11/81. And sort of weird that the thing here says 217 photos and high-res pictures of the 2 culprits. 217, of course, being the number from weapons. They used weapons. It's also your 12-7 or buildings 1, 2, and 7 number. Now, the Season 3 finale of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was to be a 2-parter, Graduation Day and Graduation Day Part 2. They were written and directed by series creator Joss Whedon. Part 1 first aired on May 18th, 1999, and Part 2 first aired on July 13th, that Trump ear clip date, 1999. The second part was to originally be aired on May 25th, 1999, but was postponed due to the episode's content and the occurrence of the Columbine High School shootings 1 month prior. And by the way, the original air date, May 25th, is Shannon Doherty's final appearance date on Beverly Hills 90210 back in 1994. And of course, Shannon Doherty died on July 13th. There's also the fact that Shannon Doherty was best friends with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy. And remember that Shannon died exactly 7 months, 13 days before Michelle Trachtenberg died. And of course, Shannon died on 7/13, and Michelle Trachtenberg played Buffy's sister, Dawn. And Graduation Day Part 2, the one that was moved to 7/13, was Season 3, Episode 22, 322, Skull and Bones, just like Shannon Doherty's final episode of Charmed on 5/17, the 137th day of the year, was Season 3, Episode 22 of that show. Also, at the end of the episode, after the high school is blown up, all these fire trucks are around. We, of course, see Buffy in front of this fire truck that says, 911. And that's normal, of course. 911 is on fire trucks and police cars. But then we get to see the number of the fire engine, and it just so happens to be 254. 9/11 is the 254th day of the year, and I've seen this episode a few times. They show it very prominently, more prominently than this, but this is all I could find online on short notice. But yes, just like the 5/22 aired episode, The Gift, about the tower sacrifice of Dawn to open the hell portal, was predictive programming, the towers coming down, the tower sacrifice on 9/11. So was this episode pointing towards 9/11 after they blew up their high school. And remember that this was postponed because of the Columbine event, and one of the culprits born on 9/11. This in Season 3, Episode 22, which was moved to 7/13, the future Trump ear clip date, Shannon Doherty's future death date. And her final episode of Charmed Again was Season 3, Episode 22, and her final episode of Beverly Hills 90210 was on 5/25/1994. This episode, before being moved to 7/13, was originally going to air on 5/25. And the other Buffy episode that got moved that season because of Columbine was titled Earshot. Now, what happened on 7/13/2024? Trump's ear clip. And this episode actually was supposed to air before the Graduation Day Part 2 because, again, that was the season finale. This was Season 3, Episode 18. But they actually moved it to a later date, September 21st, 1999. And I remember that September 21st was when Charlie Kirk's memorial was held. So this episode that was supposed to air before the season finale actually aired much later than it did. I mean, I guess they couldn't exactly put an episode titled Earshot on Trump's future ear clip date, but they still connected it to another assassination scenario with the whole Charlie Kirk thing by airing it on September 21st. And in this episode, Buffy gets infected with an aspect of a demon that allows her to telepathically hear everyone else's thoughts. And she winds up hearing someone say that they are going to kill them all the next day after they say that. She doesn't know who it is, though, so it's a mystery, and they have to find out who it is. She also goes to her boyfriend, who is a vampire, and tries to read his thoughts, but can't. And he tells her that in 243 years, he has loved only her. And the 243rd prime number is 1543. 1 plus 5 is 6. 4 plus 3, 7. 6, 7. And that episode was originally supposed to air on April 27th. Only 7 days after the Columbine event. Now they come to the realization that the one who is supposedly going to kill everyone is the character Jonathan, played by Danny Strong. And look at his birth date. 6/6/74. Of course, 66, your twin number. And the character's name gives us our 67. And our 86. Has the sun in the name, of course. And the Levi, actually he has Elvis in his name. Elvis. I didn't realize that until just now, actually. But again, 86. And the title of the episode, Earshot, just so happens to also equal 86. We also have our backwards 8/16 Elvis birth date. The reason I never picked up on the last name is because they never actually really said his last name in the show much. It was always just Jonathan. But since it has the Levi and the Elvis, it equals, and of course the sun, it equals 110. Again, the amount of floors in each of the World Trade Center towers, and our 66 twin number. Jonathan by itself, our 8-4 number in Latin. But as it turns out, he was just a red herring, and he was just going to unalive himself in the school's clock tower. Buffy stops him from doing this. But as it turns out, the actual culprit winds up being the cafeteria lunch lady, who Xander, who was compared to Elvis in season 2, episode 16, and who has a twin in real life who would occasionally stand in for him in the show, discovers her pouring rat poison into the school cafeteria food as he's about to take a bite of Jell-O. Actually a pretty funny scene. And wouldn't you know that rat poison equals our big 12-7 Pearl Harbor date, buildings 127. And of course 12 times 7 equals 84. Also equals our backwards 611. Include Jell-O. We have our 1086, the beast system number. As you can see here, the beast system, 1086. And if you've watched my past decodes, you know that Claire Kramer's character, Glory, who appears in Season 5 to sacrifice Dawn on top of the tower, is referred to as the Beast. The Beast gives us our 26, pointing to the year 2026. Remember, Trachtenberg has all of those 26 codes. Also our 816, Elvis death date. In reverse satanic, a reverse Trump birth date, 6/14. And I've showed this before, but I'm showing it again just because you can never show this info too much. The Beast Glory in satanic equals our 6/12 George Bush senior birth date, backwards to 16/84. Also 194, and the 194th day of the year just so happens to be 7/13. User full name, the Beast Glorificus. In reverse satanic, we have Trump's reverse birth date, reversed 7/19. Also 82. And the 82nd prime number is 421. The Seattle Space Needle opened on 421. And remember, the gift all about the tower sacrifice. The Space Needle is, of course, a tower. And by the way, in that episode, Xander, the twin character who is compared to Elvis, again winds up hitting Glory with a wrecking ball. So Glory wrecking ball equals 194. Again, the 194th day of the year, 7/13. Of course, we have our 86 twice. And the character Xander equals 66, the twin number, also our 33. Last name included, our 67, our 77, and our big 111, 110 combination. Remember, the Space Needle opened on the 111th day of the year. 9/11 leaves 111 days remaining in the year, and each World Trade Center tower had 110 floors each. The deranged lunch lady was played by Wendy Worthington, as the Ington, like Washington. And not really many interesting numbers in gematria, but there is the 198. President Trump equals 198. And 72. She had a 72 in there too. And of course the episode is called Earshot, like Trump was ear clipped. Worthington, 8-4. 163rd day of the year is, of course, the day after 6/11, 6/12, George Bush Sr. birth date, backwards 216. By the way, remember how Trump compared himself to the snake? He read that snake poem. Well, in Graduation Day Part 2, the mayor turns into a giant demonic snake while giving a speech. And an eclipse takes place during this too. Remember that dawn, or Michelle Trachtenberg, connects to eclipses. He refers to it as the ascension, equals our 66 twin number. Again, our 612, backwards 216. And wouldn't you know that the mayor equals 666 in reverse Sumerian. Also gives us our 111 Space Needle number 42. Also, Michelle died at the age of 39, although she wasn't on the show yet at this point. That being said, her future appearance more than a season later is hinted at in this episode, and this is the first episode where it's hinted at. And her future appearance is hinted at in a dream or vision involving the comatose character Faith Lahane. Gives us our 55, our 47 both forwards and backwards. And it's interesting that her last name would be Lahane, as that name is of Irish origin and historically linked to County Cork, Ireland, your CC 33. Also, you can get the word heal from that name, and she heals from her coma in later seasons, even though they said that she wouldn't. You can also get Lane from it, like Erica Lane. And Faith was played by Eliza Dushku, who is awesome, and who I talked about in my True Lies Decode. Retired from acting now. And she just turned 45 yesterday. Now, the mayor who played the guy who turned into the giant snake demon was born on September 10th. 9/10, like Charlie Kirk. In Augsburg, Bavaria, West Germany. Augsburg, sort of like August. And he went to the University of Washington. And remember that these episodes were moved around because of Columbine, and they were moved to the 7/13 ear clip date and the 9/21 Kirk Memorial date. So, going from Groner's 9/10/1951 birth to the Charlie Kirk event, 9/10 this year, 27,029 days. 2 plus 7 is 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. 9/11. Also, 2 times 7 times 2 times 9 is 252. The 252nd prime is our 611 numbers, or upside down 9/11. And the 252nd day of the year is 9/9. Also exactly 74 years. Backwards 4/7. And craziest of all, exactly 888 months. Our beast system number. And remember, the big villain in season 5 is known as the Beast. the one who wants to sacrifice Dawn atop the tower. On 5/22, no less, Memphis's founding date. So going from when Graduation Day Part 2 was originally supposed to air on 5/25 to 7/13, if you include the end date, 1 month, 19 days, you're backwards 9/11. If we go from the original Graduation Day air date before it was moved to 7/13/2024, 9209 days, 9 plus 2 is 11, 9, backwards 9/11. Also 25 years, 2 months, 16 days, we have our 2/16/84. And remember that the Earshot episode was originally supposed to air on the 25th of May. Also 302 months, 16 days, we have our 2/16 again. Add these up and get 318, and the 318th day of the year is 11/14, Charles III's birth date. Southland Tales release date, who the star of this show has a very prominent role in. And of course you drop the 0, so 9 times 2 times 9 equals 162, your 611 number. And if you go from the original air date to the Charlie Kirk event, it's 96 33 days. 96 plus 33 is 129, which is your backwards 921 Charlie Kirk memorial date and the date they aired the Earshot episode on. Also 26 plus 4 plus 14 is 44, the kill number. And 316 plus 14 is 330 for your 33. But we also have our 6/14 Trump birth date in there. And if you go from the 9/21 air date of Earshot to 9/10 Charlie Kirk, 94/86 days. 94 plus 86 is 180, your 18 or flight 180 number. We also have an 11/20 Erica Kirk birth date with 25. Charlie Kirk incident happened in the year 25. And if you go from the Earshot air date on 9/21/99 to 8/4 next year, 9,814 days. 9 plus 8 is 17. 4 plus 1 is 5. 7/15, which is a backwards 5/17. Remember, 5/17 is the 137th day of the year. Shannon's final appearance on Charmed. Also 7/15 is when True Lies came out. Eliza Dushku, who played Faith, was in that. It's also when Stranger Things started. And we have our 322 Skull and Bones number and a backwards Space Needle opening date, because if you say it like you do in most of the world, 2/1/4, 21/4, 4/21. Also 98 is the 666 year, and 8/14 is the 226th day of the year. Of course, Trachtenberg died on 2/26. And since Danny Strong's character was the red herring in Earshot, going from his birth to the ear clip date, 18,300 days. 300 plus 18 is 318, and again, the 318th day of the year is 11/14. Southland Tales release date, which stars Geller, who played Buffy, and of course Charles III's birth date. We also have another 5/17. Remember, that's the 137th day of the year. And the reason that Trump had his ear clip on 7/13 and that Shannon died on 7/13. And remember that Final Destination opened on 317, the reverse 713, the mirror image of it. And 317 connects to twins, as the 66th prime number is 317, and Final Destination about flight 180 or 18, Elvis birth date. And of course down here you could just do 6 times 1 is 6, and it would be your 6, 7. Or just do 601 plus 7 and it's 608 for your backwards 86. Like they're going to 86, Seattle and Trump. And since this all connects to the Kirk event as well, 50 plus 1 plus 7 is 58. Erica and Charlie, wedding date. And graduation day part 2 equals our 18 in reverse Sumerian. And when you know, since it and earshot are connected to both the Trump ear clip dates and the Charlie Kirk memorial dates, if you type out the 2, it equals 253. The 253rd day of the year is 9/10 Charlie Kirk. We have our 9/1, drop the 0, it could be your 9/10, and our backwards 6/11. Of course, just plain graduation day, which was the name of the first episode, equals our 666 in reverse satanic. Also our 8476. 59th day of the year is 228. And as graduation day part 2, which has the 254 and the fire truck, was supposed to air on 5/25, going from that date to 9/11/01, 840 days for your big 8-4. We also have 2 years, 3 months, 17 days. This is your backwards 713 Trump ear clip date 137 number. And the 713 plus 2 would land on 715, the True Lies date with Eliza. Also the Stranger Things date. And 27 plus 17 equals 44, the kill number. And if we go from the date that it was moved to, Trump's ear clip date back in 99 to 9/11/01, 25 plus 29 is 54, your backwards 45. We once again, interestingly enough, have our backwards 9/21 Charlie Kirk memorial date. Remember when we went from the original air date of the episode that it was moved from, we got our backwards 713 date. This episode was moved to 713, the other episode was moved to 9/21, so we get both the 9/21 and 713 new dates backwards when going to 9/11. From the 3/22 graduation day part 2 episode dates. And 2 times 1 times 29 equals 58. Again, Erica and Charlie supposedly married on 5/8. Also 791 days. 79 plus 1 is 80. Trump will be 80 when 8/4 rolls around next year, and he'll still be 79 when 6/11, the potential next 9/11, rolls around next year. And the 791st prime number is 6067. Of course, 60 plus 67 is 127, 12, 7. 12 times 7 equals 84. And we have both our 66 twin number and 67 Elvis number. But anyway, I thought this was interesting. Shorter video since it's New Year's Eve. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.